Today is International Transgender Day of Visibility. It's a day designed to draw attention to discrimination and attacks faced by the trans community.
Yeah, and it's also a day to celebrate the lives of transgender people, fostering acceptance and allyship. For more on this, we're joined by Peppermint, who is a trans actress and GLAAD board member, and Carter Brown, who's the executive director of the National Black Trans Advocacy Coalition. Thank you both for being with us this morning. Carter, let's start with you. Tell us about Transgender Day of Visibility and what it means for you.
Well, Transgender Day of Visibility is a time to celebrate trans people. It's a day to recognize transgender people who are advocating for equality and advancement of gender diverse people. It's a chance to see a face and hear about our lives. There's a huge education gap being exploited by anti-LGBTQ extremists who are lying about us in our lives, and our essential health care being visible and sharing our stories shows who we are.
And Peppermint, let's bring you in now. The GLAAD Awards were last night. They're an organization that celebrates positive representations of the trans community. But recently, we've seen several state-level efforts to restrict transgender rights, including in Tennessee, which just enacted a ban on drag performances. How does this hostile legislation affect the trans community?
Well, unfortunately, this legislation it's really upsetting to the trans community because it sends a message that we are not necessarily wanted to be a part of society. But one of the things, if you believe that LGBTQ people are born queer and born who they are, which I believe that they are, then that means that queer people and trans people are a part of pretty much the most intersectional community in the world. We're born into every nation, every country, every political organization, and every family. We're everywhere. We already are. And so it's really important that people recognize that there are trans people who are in your communities. They are teachers, doctors, people in your communities. And it's really important that we recognize that these people are raising families and already a part of your communities. And what we want them to do is have the same protections and safety and access to essential needs that everyone else has.
And Peppermint, there's been a lot of backlash to the trans community, especially on the public stage lately, and it's trickling down. I understand you were in a situation where a fake social media post was sent out by someone pretending to be you in the aftermath of the Nashville school shooting. How did that play out, and how dangerous are things like that?
It's terrible. I mean, I spend a lot of time and energy trying to uplift not only people in the LGBT community, but people who are marginalized in all communities. And I think it's really important that that people understand that these discriminatory laws that we're hearing about that are focused on the LGBTQ community, primarily the trans community, when it comes to removing healthcare protections, for instance, these types of bans and policies and laws, if they get passed, do actually affect everyone, people of all identities. These are the same lawmakers. The same lawmakers that are attacking LGBTQ rights and passing these bills are the same ones who are banning access to abortion, the same ones who are trying to ban books in our schools. And so these bans do affect everyone. And personally, obviously it was really hurtful, not because someone wanted to hold me accountable for something that I actually said, but because someone made up lies about me. And that seems to be the number one way that these people, unfortunately, are attempting to frame trans people in this situation as something that we're not. But getting to know trans people for who we are and all of the things that we contribute to society is the best way to really connect with us. But these lawmakers are obviously trying to spread lies and use things that are not true about us, about our health care, about who we are, in order to frame us in a really unfavorable way.
And finally, Carter, what can people do today, going forward, if they want to be a respectful ally?
Being a respectful ally simply means fighting for us, just as you would fight for yourselves, to be safe, to have access to the things that you need. And at most, it means to not oppose us simply living and pursuing health care and full access just as all citizens. So, of course, supporting Transgender Day of Visibility is definitely a step in the right direction as a great ally.
All right, very important topic. Carter Brown, Peppermint, thank you to you both.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.